You remember all the all those highest bids or the biggest bids that have been decided at the strike of your hammer or the gavel, as we call it.
Uh, yes, I remember them, but I don't dwell on them. The only people who benefit from the high prices in the IPL auction are the players themselves. The owners don't benefit. The BCCI doesn't benefit. The auctioneer doesn't benefit. It's unusual. The auctioneer is paid an appearance fee. Normally, an auctioneer is incentivized to drive prices upwards, but not in the IPL auctions. So, yes, it's been fantastic to sell Yuvraj Singh, to sell Gautam Gambhir, Ben Stokes, and others for big prices. But I will then give exactly the same amount of attention to the next player coming out of that velvet bag and not get emotionally carried away by a high price or indeed a low price. Let's look at the disappointments in the IPL. Let's look at those players who don't sell. So, I make a lot of careers and I break a lot of hearts because there are some seriously disappointed people who fail to sell in the auction. So it's not always upwards.
What do you make of the auctions tomorrow and day after? This perhaps is going to be the last mega auction that we are hearing, at least, this kind of an auction. Of course, there will be auctions in future, but, a mega auction, this perhaps could be the last. What do you make of this auction? The franchisees, they had a prize, in fact, a purse of 90 CR, 90 crores INR, I'm talking about. Of course, that has been reduced because of the players that they have retained. You still think that this particular auction will see the biggest bid that has ever been made in the IPL? And who could that be? Because now that you are you follow cricket pretty passionately, that we've already learned from you, of course. Who could be your picks now?
What I've learned in the 14 years that I've been following the auctions and the 10 years that I conducted them is that it has been an upward trajectory in terms of prices and the way that the tournament has grown. And therefore, some of the surprise prices paid for players in the early days now will perhaps tomorrow look modest. And that I'm sure that there will be prices paid tomorrow, that will be eye-watering for the players themselves, and it could well be. My sources tell me that a world record will be beaten tomorrow in the highest price ever paid for a cricketer at auction. Yes, I'm sure that there will be some fireworks tomorrow. But I'm also, I put myself in the shoes of Hugh Edmeades, that I'm thinking, like he will be thinking now, preparing mentally for a 2-day sale. You're up there on your own. I don't think that people realise the pressure that the IPL auctioneer is under. He's there on his own. There is no reserve auctioneer. If he loses his voice, or is taken ill, I'm not quite sure who would come onto the field as the substitute. There is no technology. We've had 2 bidding disputes in the 14 years that the IPL auction's gone on. I suppose that one of them might have been settled with technology, but there is no technology. The auctioneer has to make the final call. And there is pressure on Hugh for over the next 2 days, which I'm sure that he, like I, will cope with. But believe me, at the end of those 2 days, he will be mentally and physically exhausted.
And you said that this could actually be history tomorrow at the auction. Who could be the player or the players who can actually be considered for that for those big bucks?
Well, I've always liked an all-rounder, and I've especially got an affinity for a wicket-keeper all-rounder, because remember, MS Dhoni was the first all-rounder, cricketing, wicket-keeping all-rounder that I sold back in 2008, $1,500,000 US dollars to Chennai Super Kings. And so therefore, I'm going to stick my neck out and say Ishan Kishan tomorrow is going to set the auction alight.
I think gentlemen think alike. Even I think that Ishan Kishan, a lot of people actually are talking about Shreyas Iyer and a few others. I think Ishan Kishan could be in for the big bucks tomorrow, and franchisees might have to break the bank for him. All-rounders you mentioned, Mitchell Marsh, there's Jason Holder. They are also there.
Jason Holder has had a good series against England. Again, all-rounders are going to be key tomorrow. He's not an outsider, but this is with no bias towards England. But Jason Roy is in sparkling form at the moment, and openers are going to be in much demand tomorrow, I understand. And David Warner is 35 today, and that means he's 38 in 3 years' time. Will he be too old for a franchise then? But he's certainly he's in good form at the moment, and will be, I'm sure, for a year or two.
Now that you're not the auctioneer for the IPL, I'm saying, has it happened that the franchisee or people associated with these franchisees may have consulted you, how to go about the auction?
No, I would be readily available to help if they wanted in terms of any training. I thought with the two new franchises coming into the auction, maybe they would have liked to have had we could have had a mock auction for the Ahmedabad or Lucknow franchises and help them through the process. So I would be happy to advise from that standpoint, ready and available. And if there was going to be another mega auction, and of course it appears this might be the last one, I'd love to train an Indian auctioneer to become the next IPL auctioneer.
Well, that's quite interesting, actually, so that, the franchisees here can have these mock auctions well before the actual auctions happen. But of course, Mr. Madley, thank you very much. And if you can just sign off and wrap this interview up with the sound of that gavel that you have.
Well, it's been a great pleasure being with you today. And of course, I'm synonymous with one word and one word only. So I'm going to say it once. I'll say it twice. A third time. Sold.